that reveal how deeply he feels. Let's explore the 6 things men do only for the woman they truly love. You said, when a man truly loves a woman, something changes deep within him, something that most people don't get to see. For much of his life, he's learned to protect himself, to wear a mask of confidence, and to hide his emotions behind logic or humor. Society often tells men to stay strong, to toughen up, and to never let anyone see their weakness. But when real love enters his life, it challenges all of that. It gently breaks down his emotional walls and allows him to feel safe enough to be vulnerable. He begins to open up in ways he's never done before, revealing sides of himself he's kept hidden from the world. Vulnerability is not natural for most men. It's risky, because to open up is to trust that someone won't use your honesty against you. Yet when he truly loves, he finds courage in that risk. He doesn't just share facts about his life, he shares feelings. He talks about the things that scare him, the disappointments he's faced, the insecurities that still whisper to him in quiet moments. He might speak about his fears of failure, his childhood wounds, or even the parts of himself he's still trying to understand. When he does this, it's not for sympathy. It's because he finally feels seen, not for what he provides or how strong he looks, but for who he really is underneath all of that. Love makes a man put down his armor. Around the woman he truly cares for, he doesn't need to perform. He can breathe. He can be silent without feeling judged. He can admit that he doesn't have all the answers. That level of emotional safety is rare, and when he finds it, he protects it. He begins to realize that strength isn't about hiding emotions, it's about owning them. Love teaches him that true connection comes from honesty, not perfection. When he lets his guard down, he's not only trusting her, he's also trusting himself again. Many men carry emotional scars from the past, from betrayals or heartbreaks that taught them to stay closed. But love gives him a new reason to believe that emotional intimacy can be safe. He learns that being vulnerable doesn't make him weak, it makes him human. And when he's with a woman who listens, who doesn't judge his openness, that trust deepens. He starts to share more freely, and each time he does, the bond between them grows stronger. Letting his guard down is one of the most profound signs of genuine love. It's not loud or dramatic, it's quiet and real. It's in the moment he tells her what he's afraid to say to anyone else. It's when he allows her to see him during moments of doubt or failure. It's when he chooses honesty over ego. And that choice means everything. Because in love, the greatest gift a man can give isn't money, promises, or status. It's his truth. And when he offers that truth, it's proof that she holds a place in his heart that no one else ever has. When a man truly loves a woman, her happiness becomes an essential part of his own. It's not about being overly accommodating or losing himself in her needs. It's about finding genuine fulfillment in seeing her smile, hearing her laugh, and knowing that his presence adds peace to her life. He begins to think beyond himself. His choices, words, and actions start reflecting a quiet awareness of her feelings. This shift doesn't happen because he's trying to impress her. It happens because her joy naturally matters to him. When he loves her, her emotional well-being becomes something he instinctively wants to protect and nurture. You can see this in the small things he does. He'll pay attention to the details that others overlook, the way she takes her coffee, the songs that lift her mood, or how she likes to unwind after a long day. He might go out of his way to send her a message at the right time, bring her something she casually mentioned days ago, or adjust his plans just to spend time with her. These gestures aren't grand or forced, they're natural expressions of affection. Love makes him attentive. He starts noticing her energy, her silence, and the little cues that tell him when something's off. And when he sees her struggling, he doesn't try to fix everything. He just shows up steady and present, because sometimes love isn't about solving problems. It's about standing beside someone through them. Prioritizing her happiness doesn't mean he neglects his own. It's a balance. one that comes from maturity. He understands that real love isn't about losing yourself to please someone. It's about growing together. So when he makes her happiness a priority, it's not an act of sacrifice. It's an act of connection. It's him saying, your peace matters to me because you matter to me. This kind of care shows up most clearly when it's inconvenient. Anyone can be kind when it's easy, but a man in love will show consistency even when he's tired, stressed, or busy. Love teaches him to be patient, to communicate with empathy, and to find joy in giving, not just receiving. He also learns to celebrate her happiness without ego. If she succeeds, he doesn't feel threatened. He feels proud. Her achievements inspire him rather than intimidate him. That's because love removes the competition. It turns me and you into us. He wants to see her shine because her light adds warmth to his world too. And perhaps the most beautiful part is that he doesn't do any of this expecting praise or recognition. He does it quietly, almost naturally, because her happiness feeds something inside him that words can't describe. It's the smile that eases his worries, the laughter that softens his day, and the shared moments that remind him why love is worth the effort. When a man loves deeply, he doesn't need to say, I care about your happiness. You'll see it in how he listens, how he shows up, and how he never stops trying to make her world a little brighter. When a man truly loves a woman, his vision of the future begins to change in subtle but powerful ways. Before love, he may have focused mostly on personal goals, his career, ambitions, independence, or adventures he wanted to chase alone. But when he meets someone who touches his heart on a deeper level, he starts to imagine a life that includes her. Love shifts his mindset from me to we. It's not that he loses himself. Instead, he discovers a new version of himself, one that wants to build, share, and grow with another person. When he talks about his plans, she naturally becomes part of the picture. The idea of a future without her simply doesn't feel complete anymore. A man in love begins to plan differently. He starts thinking long term, not because he feels pressured, but because he genuinely wants stability with her. If he's considering a new job, a move, or a major life change, he wonders how it might affect her. He values her presence enough to think ahead with her in mind. Even in casual conversations, he might say things like, we should travel there someday, or when we get our own place. Those little words mean a lot because they show that he's already weaving her into his future. Love turns his dreams into shared possibilities. Including her in his future isn't just about words or fantasies. It's also about effort. He begins making practical steps that align with the kind of life he wants to create together. He may start saving differently, setting new goals, or adjusting his habits. Love gives him direction, not because he needs someone to complete him, but because he's inspired by the idea of building something meaningful with her. He understands that real love isn't just about the present moment. It's about building a foundation strong enough to last. You can tell a man is serious about his feelings when he starts involving her in decisions that matter. He seeks her thoughts, asks her opinion, and values her input when discussing his next steps. This isn't dependency, it's respect. He trusts her perspective and wants her to feel included because he sees her as an equal partner. The more he loves her, the more he wants her to know that she's not just a part of his now, she's a part of his next. What makes this stage beautiful is its quiet sincerity. He doesn't need to make dramatic promises or big declarations. His intentions are visible through consistency. Love turns his uncertainty into clarity. He no longer looks for temporary excitement. He looks for stability, connection, and a shared sense of purpose. When a man includes a woman in his future, it's one of the clearest signs that his love is deep and genuine. He's not just thinking about tomorrow, he's thinking about forever. And in every version of that forever, she's there by his side. When a man truly loves a woman, he begins to value her perspective in a way that goes beyond surface level interest. He doesn't just hear her words, he listens to them. He pays attention not only to what she says, but also to how she feels behind those words. This shift is profound because many men are used to solving problems rather than understanding emotions. But love changes that. It teaches him that listening is not about fixing. It's about connecting. When he's in love, he seeks her opinion because he genuinely respects her intelligence, her intuition, and her insight. Her thoughts start to matter to him in a way that shapes how he views the world. You'll notice this when he begins to consult her about meaningful decisions, whether it's about his career, his family, or personal challenges. He doesn't do this because he's uncertain or incapable. He does it because he recognizes her wisdom. He values the way she sees things differently, how she can offer a perspective that balances his own. When he truly loves, he realizes that her presence isn't just emotional support, it's intellectual companionship. He knows that her voice adds clarity to his confusion and softness to his strength. Love teaches him that partnership isn't about dominance or control. It's about mutual respect and understanding. He listens without interrupting, without turning the conversation into a debate. He listens because her words carry weight in his heart. Even if he doesn't always agree, he still wants to understand where she's coming from. That's what respect looks like. He learns that being right is less important than being kind, and that understanding her point of view is more valuable than winning an argument. This willingness to seek her opinion also reflects his emotional maturity. It shows that he's not threatened by her strength or independence. Instead, he's inspired by it. He sees her as a partner in his growth, someone who challenges him to become better, to think deeper, and to approach life with more empathy. He values the fact that she helps him see the things he might have overlooked, and he appreciates how she can turn moments of confusion into clarity with just a few words. Respect in love also means that he doesn't dismiss her feelings, even when he doesn't understand them right away. He knows that her emotions are not a sign of weakness, but a form of honesty. And because he loves her, he wants to create a space where she feels safe expressing them. This kind of listening builds trust, the kind of trust that turns a relationship into a true partnership. When a man listens to a woman he loves, it's not out of obligation, but out of admiration. He values her not just as someone he cares for, but as someone he learns from. In her voice, he finds wisdom. In her silence, he senses truth. And through her perspective, he discovers a version of love that deepens his understanding of life itself. When a man truly loves a woman, his actions begin to align with his words in a way that creates a deep sense of security and trust. Love makes him consistent, dependable, and loyal, not just when things are easy, but especially when they're not. He understands that love isn't built through grand declarations. It's built through reliability. He knows that affection and promises mean very little if they're not supported by consistent effort. So, when he loves, he makes sure his behavior reflects his feelings. He becomes someone she can count on, not because he's perfect, but because he chooses to show up every single day. Consistency is one of the purest expressions of love because it requires discipline and intention. Anyone can act loving for a moment, but it takes real commitment to sustain it over time. A man in love doesn't just say he cares. He proves it in the way he prioritizes her, respects her boundaries, and stands by her even when life gets complicated. He doesn't play games or keep her guessing about where she stands. His words and actions align because he wants her to feel safe in his presence. This stability becomes a silent promise. No matter how the world changes, his heart remains steady. Loyalty for him is not just about physical faithfulness. It's emotional and moral too. It means protecting her reputation, honoring her trust, and staying true even when temptation or doubt appear. Love gives him a sense of responsibility, not in a burdensome way, but in a way that feels right. He understands that loyalty is about more than just not betraying her. It is about actively choosing her every day through small acts of devotion. He respects her in public and in private, speaks of her with pride, and defends her even when she's not around to hear it. When he loves deeply, he also becomes consistent in his emotional energy. He doesn't disappear during hard times or withdraw when the relationship faces challenges. Instead, he stays engaged. He's willing to work through misunderstandings, to communicate openly, and to rebuild when things feel shaky. His loyalty gives her confidence that she's not alone in the relationship, that whatever comes, he's there, ready to face it together. What makes this kind of love special is that it's steady, not flashy. It doesn't seek attention. It builds trust quietly. His constancy becomes the foundation upon which the relationship thrives. Over time, she learns that she doesn't need to question his intentions or fear sudden change. He's the kind of man who believes that love isn't measured by what you feel once, but by what you choose repeatedly. When a man shows consistency and loyalty, he's saying without words, "You can trust my heart." He becomes her safe place, not through promises, but through proof. And in a world where many chase excitement, his steadiness becomes the rarest and most valuable form of love. When a man truly loves a woman, he begins to value emotional connection as much as physical attraction. The relationship becomes more than just moments of passion or affection. It becomes a safe space where both hearts can rest. He no longer seeks just excitement, he seeks depth. Love makes him curious about her inner world, her thoughts, fears, dreams, and the little things that make her who she is. He doesn't just want to be close to her, he wants to understand her, and that desire for emotional intimacy becomes the foundation that holds their bond together. Investing in emotional connection means he's willing to communicate openly, even when the conversations are uncomfortable. He doesn't avoid difficult topics or shut down when things get tense. Instead, he chooses honesty, knowing that communication is how love stays alive. When she speaks, he listens not to defend himself, but to understand her feelings. He's not afraid to admit when he's wrong, and he values growth more than ego. This kind of vulnerability requires courage, but love gives him that courage. It makes him realize that being emotionally present is far more powerful than pretending to be perfect. He also learns that connection is built in small, consistent moments, in the daily check-ins, the shared laughter, the late-night talks, and even the comfortable silences. He creates space for her to be herself without fear of judgment. He notices her moods, her energy, and her unspoken needs. He becomes emotionally attuned to her because her happiness and peace matter to him deeply. It's not about controlling her emotions or fixing her problems. It's about standing beside her, steady and understanding. When a man invests in emotional connection, he also opens himself up in return. He doesn't just expect her to share her feelings while he remains distant. He lets her see his own vulnerability, his hopes, doubts, and the parts of him that few others ever get to see. That mutual openness creates a powerful bond. It's no longer just a relationship, it becomes a partnership where both feel safe to be real. This emotional effort often shows up in the way he handles conflicts. Instead of shutting down or walking away, he chooses patience. He cares more about preserving the connection than about proving a point. He practices forgiveness, gives reassurance, and makes sure she feels secure even after an argument. Because for him, love isn't about being right. It's about staying connected. Over time, that emotional depth transforms the relationship into something rare, something that endures beyond attraction or convenience. She becomes not just his lover, but his confidant, his safe space, and his emotional home. And he becomes the kind of man who knows that true love isn't about finding someone who completes you. It's about building a bond so strong that both souls feel whole together. When he invests in that kind of connection, it's because he knows this is love worth keeping.